So it's always a pleasure to come here, and it's always a bit unnerving to give a talk in presence of all my former professors, but I'll try my best. So I'm going to talk on this topic, economics of the internet and policy perspective. So this work has been led by my doctoral student, Mohammad Hassan Bakri. So he's in his final year in the job market, in case you wish to consider him. And it is a large part of it, mostly is his work. So, okay, so now I'll just start with some brief introduction. So internet has been here for some time, and let's say last several years, there are some regulatory issues which have come to the fore, and it's these regulatory issues which have brought in new technical consideration. So it's really a very exciting period where there's technologists like us interact, or should interact really, with the legal practitioners. So I mean, we'll start, so there is some perspective there. So Communication Act of 1996, we separated telephone and information service, and it's relaxed the regulation for internet service providers leading investment on the internet. It's been a while. Now in 2007, there was a controversy between Comcast and BitTorrent. So about giving preferential treatment. Comcast is a service provider, is about giving preferential treatment to certain kind of content, and which led to the very vigorous net neutrality debate. So broadly speaking, net neutrality is really the constraint that an internet service provider is supposed to treat all data equally, regardless of where it comes, regardless of where it goes, and regardless of its type. It cannot discriminate between the type of data based on these considerations, and such internet service providers are known as neutral service providers. Now, so there, I mean, there are some advantages which we would get into in allowing the ISPs to be non-neutral. Okay, so why? Because if you can, I mean, there are some compelling arguments for them to argue that they should not be neutral. For example, if a particular content provider sends a lot of content, right, then the ISPs really have with the end users many times, so they are fixed payment service policy. That is, they pay some amount every month, the end users, and they use unlimited amount of data. But then a particular content provider may be sending a lot of data through this through ISP, and it's just paying, it's just getting the same thing. So
one point to clarify, if I may. So when the neutrality says that all data must be treated the same way, it cannot possibly mean that there would be the same charges for any piece of data regardless of the quality of service.
Okay, so yeah, so what it means is this, that it cannot really, what it means is based on what the content provider pays it. It cannot really distinguish. That is, I can't really give, let's say, preferential service to Netflix because Netflix is paying me more. So I will have to treat Netflix and think of something else like YouTube or some company downloading on YouTube, uploading on YouTube. Sorry, same way. So you will charge the end user. You will charge the end user based on, let's say, the bit rates it receives, etc. But you should not charge based on if you are getting more from Netflix, I'm going to charge you more. Or if you cannot receive payment from Netflix. That's the definition of a neutral service provider. Yeah. So there is an argument for not being neutral. So many of these service providers argued. So and it went to the courts as usual. So in January 2014. Federal Appeals Court. So FCC was favorably oriented towards net neutrality, but Federal Appeal Court struck down parts of the net neutrality constraints imposed by the FCC. Okay, so and then there were some agreements between Comcast and Netflix, like let's say leading to payments, etc. But this went through further litigations. So in February 2015, there was a law which mandated that internet access, considered internet access as a public utility. Okay, so that really means, effectively it means you can't really distinguish that you have to be neutral. So right now, technically the non-neutrality is not allowed in US. Okay, there are some loopholes in the laws which the companies are utilizing, but it's not allowed. But first thing is this, we do not believe that this would be the end of, end of the debate. Okay, so with the changes in regime, the laws might change, there may be other lawsuits which are challenging this. So, we look at it from a scientific perspective. That is, if we did not have any legal constraints that obligate us to be neutral, then what would we do? And the idea and the motivation for it is this, that in many parts of the world, that those laws are not in place. Okay, so US mandates neutrality, but many other countries do not. So I'll give you some examples. But before that, what is really the scientific setup that we are considering? So we have these three sets of entities: end users, internet service providers, and content providers. Okay? So now the money flow is happening in this way. The content providers pay their access fee to the internet service providers, and the end users. So end users pay their internet connection fee to the internet service providers. Okay? So the internet service provider is potentially making money from these two, and it's offering a service. Now the the content providers make their money through advertisement. They can also make their money through end users. There can be a direct link like this, but we don't consider that because that's not in the current setup. The content providers normally do not charge the end users. They make their money through advertisement, and that's really the model that we would consider. So getting back to the litigation. So in US we are mandated to be neutral, but in Europe the story is different. In October 2015, the European Parliament rejected legal amendments for net neutrality rules. There are some restrictions, but broadly speaking, they allow sponsored data plans. Okay, they allow the content providers to sponsor data plans. Okay, that means it is effectively non-neutrality, and they also allow internet fast lanes for specialized services. That is, if we have an agreement that we have a fast lane and your traffic goes through that. So in India, there are some negotiations are going on, so the situation is not clear yet. So Facebook is proposing to introduce its own internet, but it's not going to charge the end user. That means you will get your internet service if I'm an end user, but I'm not going to pay anything. And Facebook plans to make its money through advertisement. Okay, so the discussions on these are still going on. Okay, it's not very clear what it will be. And Iran also has, allows some kind of net neutrality violations. Okay, so my student who's from Iran introduced this. I still have to learn the regulations there. So I'll not talk much about this.
That's the only violation there.
Good question, yeah. Okay, so this is really the regulatory scenario. In other words, I'm making the case that there is scientific reasons for still investigating non-neutrality, despite the regulatory restrictions in the United States as of now.
But you do not consider any special types of users or characteristics of users or profiles.
So in this, we have some kind of profile, but not very detailed profile. So I'll get into that. So the profiles that we will consider is there will be some kind of preferences for the internet service providers, but not more than that. So it's really a very, very broad profile, but we didn't get into very specialized profiles. Yeah.
So if I understand correctly,
yeah.
You only have preferences as far as whether I'm preferring this provider or the other?
Yes, exactly.
And for other reasons?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we deal with censorship? I mean, there are some countries, some governments that will disallow it.
That's right. China does, for example. Yeah. So actually, that's a very good point. So that means, but then those content providers will not be operational. That is, I think China doesn't allow Twitter, for example. I think Twitter is banned in China, if I'm not wrong. That means then Twitter cannot really, will not arise. That content provider is taken out of the picture. But yes, you're right, so content providers like Google has some restrictions, right? But then the content provider will have to work on those restrictions. So that is not entering into the negotiation between any of these parties, end users and ISPs. So this field is exciting in that it should interest different communities, engineers like us, economists, and also public policy experts. And an economic model for an internet market consists of these three entities: ISPs, content providers, end users. So we are looking at the talk that I will present here is this non-neutrality adoption. Here, basically, the broad questions that I will tackle are these. How does competition control the internet market? There is competition between different ISPs. How do they control internet markets? How do other entities like the content provider, the end users, now exploit this competition to their advantage?
An end user is, for example, me
Yes.
subscribing to a service.
Yes, it will be a correct end user is.
So what's my leverage?
I will come to that. I'll present the exact model. So your the leverage is essentially who you choose. It's really the passive one.
Passive one.
Yeah, passive one. Who you choose. Based on
No
you.
leverage.
No, it is in a sense that you can have some innate preference. For example, one is you will look at quality, you will look at money, right? But you may well have some innate preference which we will model as well. And you may just, for some reason, you may prefer commerce. We will do the social welfare analysis of the market, that is whether neutrality is better or non-neutrality is better from the perspective of different entities. And then we will visit the question, do we really need regulation? Okay, is regulation a good idea? Okay, and then there are some other works that we did in this broad framework. I will not have time to get into them. So basically it's different kind of pricing strategies in a non-neutral network. That is, which entity benefits more through pricing, what kind of pricing strategies we adopted, what is their effect on the market in the long run. So I do not think I have time to get into those. So, now, one of the main factors in determining regulation is competition. So what do we really mean by competition? So here, again, there are three sets of entities: content providers, internet service providers, and the end users. So the content providers can actually exploit. So visiting Professor Markowski's question. So the content providers can apply some leverage on this competition. How? They can selectively send their data through one particular ISP as opposed to its competitor. And that would, if the content is popular, that would really enhance the competitive advantage of that ISP. More end users, if it is a popular content, more end users can subscribe to that. Why would it want? For example, it's possible that ISP is paying it more. There is a side payment, which we'll get into it. Or that ISP is offering a better quality. And as a result, the end users get high quality, so they can download more advertisements, right? That is, if I get a lousy quality, I'm not going to hear about advertisement. And so the advertisers will be happy and they will pay. So it can deliberately do that. For example, even if it costs nothing to it, it may refuse to send through a particular service provider because it wants the end users to switch to other ones. Okay? So these are the leverage, and these are sometimes used arguments against non-neutrality. That is, some of the ISPs argue that we don't have that much of, we are small, we are just newcomers in the market, we don't have such relations with the content providers, we'll be at a distinct disadvantage. So do not allow non-neutrality. Okay? These are some of the arguments used for and against. So, and so in that sense, even ISPs, some of the ISPs may not be very comfortable with non-neutrality because the content providers can use it to influence their equilibrium. And so we model the framework with two ISPs, okay? But the important point is the ISPs one ISP will be neutral and the other ISP will be non-neutral. I think that is a very important point of a model because we believe, at least when non-neutrality is deployed in initial stages, you will have two different classes of ISPs, right? It will not be that everyone is non-neutral, right away. Okay, some of them will be neutral, some of them will be non-neutral. So we want to see how the market responds to this, and that would really determine the future of non-neutrality. Okay, it may well happen that 30 years down the line everything will be non-neutral, but it's not going to happen today. Okay, so and we also allow asymmetric competition. That is, the ISPs are not identical, and I'll get into what asymmetry means and how does the different attributes of the ISPs affect the competition. And the CPs content providers can differentiate between ISPs and the end users. So what we will do is, you will see that the model is very simple. Okay, it has many features, it's still simple, it's a toy model, justifiably so. You can justifiably call it a toy model. But the insight or the advantage of such model is this, that it will provide an insight for the new equilibrium, the internet markets, because we are able to get closed form solutions. Okay, so using that, you can get an insight of what would work and what would not. And we will also have an idea of how each entity is affected by all these non-neutral interactions. Yes, John?
Yes, this is a master question, but is your analysis going to be dynamic or static?
No, it's going to be static. Yeah, just one time. Yeah. In something else, we have a dynamic one, but not. Yeah. So and then it will answer the question whether we have regulations or not. So let's get to the model. So here we have one content provider. It's like we are considered like a large content provider with a lot of monopoly, so it doesn't have competition. Just one content provider, like Google, for example. And we have two ISPs. One is neutral. What does neutral mean? It offers only one quality level, and which we call free or basic quality. It does not charge the content provider. Does not charge the content provider. It makes its money only through the end users. And we have one non-neutral. Now the non-neutral offers two quality levels. One is free quality. Content provider doesn't need to pay for it. Another is premium quality. So the content provider can get premium quality, but it has to pay addition. That's where the side effect comes in. Okay, so it makes its money from the end users and also from the content providers. Okay, and we also have the end users. Yeah. Alright, so this is really the picture. This is the content provider, this is the neutral ISP, this is the non-neutral ISP. So here, this blue arrow show the flow of data. Okay, content provider sent through the ISPs and the ISP sent to the end users. Okay. And this red arrow shows the money flow. So there are really four sets of entities. The ads, the advertisements, advertisers rather. So here the end users, these are the end users, and the end users pay the content providers, okay? End users and, end users pay the content providers, and the content provider can pay the, end users pay the service providers, okay, not the content providers. And the content providers can pay the service providers. Okay, content providers can make their money through ads. So this is really the two sources of money. Content provider can also receive payment from the ISPs, and we will get into it. Okay, it's called cycle. Yes.
So in this model, you do not deal with the advertisers.
We do. Okay, advertisers. Okay, we deal only in the sense that the content providers get their money from the advertisers.
But this can be great also, and this can influence the popularity or not.
Yes. Yeah, but we don't deal in, we do not deal many aspects of the advertisers in the following sense that if you send too much advertisement, then the end users may start disliking the content, or we don't deal really the competition between.
So there are actually four players in the game, not
yes,
three.
You're right, four players. Yes, but I have been emphasizing three just because we don't consider several aspects of the advertising. Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the internet service provider is also the infrastructure provider.
Internet service provider is the one which is giving.
No,
yes.
I'm just asking. There's a recent breaking down in the roles. So of the infrastructure provider and the virtual.
Okay. No, okay, I understand your question. No, we do not get into these distinctions. Internet service provider is the one who is also laying the infrastructure.
So it wouldn't play. The question basically is whether it will play, a role. Whether it would change somehow your.
Yeah, so basically it will, that is one of the driving questions for net neutrality. That is, for example, if by giving better quality, if the internet service providers are able to make more money from the content providers, that is supposed to be one motivation for improving on your infrastructure, so that you can provide this, right? So we are going to deal with it in that sense. We are just going to study whether the internet service providers make more money by being non-neutral, for example. So they can invest it into infrastructure. They should if they want to give a higher quality. Okay? And how does quality, difference in quality, how does that influence the money? Okay, so that's related to infrastructure. If I have a good infrastructure, I'll be able to be very helpful. Right. So, okay. So now,
So if I am a famous professor and I'm a content provider, I say my lectures will go through this provider.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to charge more.
Yeah, you can. I mean, in non-neutral you can.
Yeah, but in
Yes.
neutral you cannot, right?
In neutral you cannot. Today you cannot. Like today, because this is disabled, side payments are disabled. So today you cannot, but in a non-neutral world you can. So Professor Markowski, do you have a question?
You know, when you say you charge more USD, what as the
Content
Yeah, yeah.
But in a sense, are you really a content provider in this case, or are you a net user?
Your content, you're providing your lectures, providing your lectures. Yeah.
But I think in this case, only with MOOCs, you don't have a problem.
Well, but
With MOOCs, you don't have a problem.
You're so famous that
Because there are they give it for free.
that's relates to that, actually.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so the end users, I think let's come to that. I think that is an important question. So here, I'll first explain the model and then I'll tell you what these things are. So the model is very simple. Let's consider there is a line, straight line, between the two ISPs, ISP neutral and ISP non-neutral. And the end users are distributed as per a continuum along this line. So what does this line mean? It's not really now. The point is this line is virtual, it's not physical. So what it means is if I'm located here, then I'm very close to the ISPN. That really means I have a strong preference for ISP. Okay, again, it's not really physical. Okay? It doesn't have to be physical distance. It just means I have a strong preference for this. Okay, and then if I'm on the contrary, if I'm here, then I have actually strong preference for ISP. Okay, and the preferences are also there is a coefficient associated for this preference, which can be different for different ISPs. Okay, so that's how we deal with net preference. That is, it's quite possible. For example, I have telephone, I have television, and I have internet, right? So I usually take all three from Comcast. So if I suddenly get a good internet access fee for someone else, I may not just want to switch because it's just easier bundled up service. Or I have been with Comcast for a long time. Unless if things become very different, then I will switch. But if they are sort of same or close, very similar, I will not. So that's where the net preference comes in. Okay, so that is what we model in our analysis. Now, let me actually explain, and then we'll see how the mathematics models this. So basically, each end user has a utility. So this is really the utility function. So here, this xj represents this distance from this xj xn will represent the distance from ISPN. X non will represent the distance from ISP non. Okay, so this is, and this tj is the coefficient. So this, if I'm really far away from a neutral ISP, then if I connect to the neutral ISP, because of this term, my utility will be low. Okay. Similarly, this tj, if tj is high, that means it's really another level. That is, even if I'm here for some reason, I don't like the ISP. Okay, so I have this high cost for this one, and we allow these to be different. And this is really the internet access fee. Okay, so what the non and the neutral one charges, and this is really a constant benefit for getting connected to the internet. So really, this is the advantage due to quality. Qj is the quality which Qn is the quality which neutral gives. Q non is the quality which non-neutral gives. So this is overall the utility function. So here you see all of them influence, right? That is, in other words, if these two are very similar, if Qn and Q non are similar, and the Pn and the P non are similar, there is really this innate preference which is going to dominate. Okay, and it's also reversed. Is this clear? Yes.
This assumes everybody is rational, and there is no irrationality, no knowledge.
You're right, Professor Naran. So however, this irrationality comes in through this term, this preference term. Okay, that is, it can be because I bundle up for some strange reason I'm fond of Comcast. Okay, maybe they have been nice to me someday. I like their, telerepresentatives when I talk to them. Okay, so this is where, but once we capture it in a rational manner, after that they're rational. Yeah. Okay, so now, and so the users are distributed as per a continuum. So the fraction of end users who have signed up with neutral ISP, that means for whom this quantity is better for the neutral, that is Nn, okay, and the rest is N1, okay. And here we assume perfect competition in the sense the user has to choose one of the two. It can't choose both, and it can't choose neither, and that is why we have this term V star. Okay, it's a constant term, it raises everything to positive. So what it says is this, that you have some benefit for connecting. Okay, so it will never be negative. That's really the idea. Okay, so you choose one of them. It doesn't happen that you completely withdraw from the market. Okay, so now let's look at the decisions. The non-neutral, so by the way, so the leverage of the end users is just this, the preference. Okay, so for some reason if the end users, let's say, get very good from one of them, it might just, so yeah, this is leverage. So, and let's look at the decisions. So the ISP, the non-neutral ISP, decides on the internet access fees, It also decides on the site payment, this quantity. Okay? The site payment will charge the content provider if the content provider wants premium quality. If the content provider wants basic quality, it will not charge it. Okay? This is the site payment. It can also, the site payment can also be negative. Okay? So it can choose to pay the content provider. That may be an incentive for the content provider to send his entire content through this non-neutral and not send through the neutral. That will drive the neutral element from the market. Okay, so we allow that. And the neutral decides on the internet access fee. Okay, it does not have a side payment, it doesn't decide. Now what are the payoffs? So the neutral has this, it just makes its money through internet access, so it's Pn times its subscription. Minus C is really some kind of transaction cost. And the non-neutral is this, that through the internet access, this term, plus the side payment, times quality, times the subscription. Okay, so this is how the non-neutral, this is really the utility of the non-neutral. Okay, and it chooses this term, this P0 and P tilde, the red ones, to enhance it, and the neutral chooses again this red one. Okay, now, the content provider. So it decides on the qualities, its choice of the qualities it chooses for the end user. That means if it goes through neutral, neutral gives only one quality. It can't choose anything here. But if it goes through non-neutral, it can choose to just you can just adopt the basic quality, or it can pay the side payment and go for the high quality. These are its decision levels, or decision variables rather. And its payoff is this: if it is the quality times the non-neutral subscription, quality non-neutral times the non-neutral subscription. Again, it is getting paid by the advertiser. We assume advertiser is paying this accordingly, depending on the quality of subscriptions. And for the non-neutral, sorry, this is what it pays if it doesn't pay the side payment. Okay, so that means it's not really choosing the premium one, innate. And if it pays the side payment, then its utility goes down. Okay, but it may well happen that because of the high quality, it may be able to make that. Okay, so now what are the highlights of the model? The highlights of the model are this: we are looking at a heterogeneous setup, so which would be suitable for an initial stage of deployment where there is a neutral one and there is a non-neutral one. So in other words, we can study whether the migration will actually carry through non-neutral if we don't have legislative constraints. And we allow, in our model, the CPs can control the equilibrium via quality choices. For example, the CP may simply refuse to send through the neutral, although it is not costing it anything. It's free. Why? Because that way, more end users may possibly like this guy, okay, and they may actually, so that they are getting high quality, so the advertiser may pay it. So the CP can do that. That's a possibility. And there is a competition between neutral and non-neutral in terms of acquiring the end users. And there is an asymmetric innate preferences, the preference rates, TN. So these are not the same for this. And this is where the ISPs are asymmetric. So we model this decision process as a 4-stage sequential game. Okay. Stage 1, ISPs decide on PN and P0. Okay, internet access fees. So that's the first stage of the game, and then ISP non-neutral decides on the side payment. And then the content provider decides on qualities. And with all this information, end users decide who they would choose. Okay? Okay. So now, I'm not going to get into the analysis of this Sub-game Perfect Nash Equilibria. I'll just give you the results. So the analysis is, basically, it's involved in the sense that we have to go through different processes and consider different stages, etc. Yeah, so not really involved in terms of techniques. Techniques are quite routine. It's just that it's a long process where we have to look into if this happens, then this happens, etc. So I'll spare you the analysis. I'm just going to give you the results we got on the Sub-game Perfect Nash Equilibria. So we show that first the general result of this entire setup that I have described, and then I will give you some results with some in some special scenarios which are stronger results. So we show that if a Sub-game Perfect Nash Equilibrium exists, it is one of the four strategies below. First strategy is this. Call it candidate strategy A. The neutral ISP is driven out of the market. That means the content provider does not offer anything on the neutral ISP. It offers with the premium quality on the non-neutral, and no one subscribes to the neutral. So it's defunct. It's going to work. Okay. Now the second strategy is this: both ISPs are active. Okay. So but the content provider does not offer anything to the neutral. It still offers only using the premium quality to the non-neutral, but some end users stick to the neutral. So how can that happen? Because of the innate preference. And we have in this mathematical analysis, we are just considering one kind of content. In reality, there are other kinds of content. So some of the end users may, for different reasons, may be just so loyal, they will think, fine, I'll not get this content, but I can get other content. Okay, so I'll just get it.
So I have another difficulty.
Yeah.
What is the percentage of the income coming from advertisers? I think this is last.
Yeah.
Second, the advertisement effect on the user is very different depending on the domain.
Right.
In other words, if you go with something like Netflix or this kind of goods preferences, the advertising is very important. If you don't go just buying, Tony's paper is different. So, and all my papers. So this is not very indicative. In other words, what percentage of the income of the ISP comes from advertising?
No, okay, so that's a very good question. Now the only
play a big role, right?
Yeah. But only reason we do not consider this distinction is this: we are just looking at one kind of content, right? We are not looking at competition between content. So for that kind of content, it would be the same. That is, all we are saying is this content provider is making all his money from the advertisers. Okay, so in other words, let's say we are not considering sending my papers. No one would pay if I send my papers. Okay, so we are not considering that, but we are considering maybe either Google or Netflix or
But as we discussed earlier, there is competitive game going on between advertisers and product providers.
Yeah.
Because the advertisers want to get product providers to use their advertising service. That's how they make their money, and then that all goes to some content. And actually, this is a very, very important role in the internet of the revenue. So that's not in the picture here at all. Right?
No. So what we are considering is this advertiser just bases his decision on the quality. So it may be more like a movie and other things, not really transmitting my lectures. Yes, not here. Yes. But this is actually a very rich problem space. There are many different dimensions that we did not consider. Okay, so, what you raised is one of them.
But so right now, we do not have really neutrality in the US.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. But though there are some loopholes, in our paper we have mentioned them. There are some loopholes through which companies are doing it on the side. So, yeah.
For example, New York Times is not available to me if I have an ISP. I have to pay extra to New York Times there to access their content.
You are right. You are right. Okay, yes, there are indeed several scenarios where we are charged for the content. Okay, but in this case, we are not considering those. That is, we do not consider the payment link between end users to the content provider.
That's an important video.
I agree.
That's right. Point. I mean, give you the first page annotation.
Yeah,
exactly.
I give you the whole stuff, and I have to get that. You pay the $1.
Yeah, actually, that's a very interesting thing because there is another dimension, time. That is, I will consider, I'm going to give you results for one shot, right? But you will see that, yeah, multi-shot, what happens, that is fine, in one case it's driven out, but maybe that's not a good idea. You may just want to hold on so that it will make money in the future. Yeah, but we are not getting into that. Yeah. So, but that is very much within this problem space. So, then the third case is this, both ISPs are active. So, in this case, the content provider offers with premium quality on the non-neutrality. Excuse me, it offers with free quality on the neutral. So, both get the content and both get subscribers. And in this case, again, both ISPs are active. Content provider chooses free quality on both. Okay, so these are the four possibilities. What we show is this, if an SPNE exists, it will have to be one of these forms, and we get closed form for all the decision variables in each. Okay, so this is very generic result, and SPNE may not exist. So we'll get into this, but if it exists, it will be one of these. Okay, this is the general result. So now we are, excuse me, we are going to get into some special cases. Okay, first special case is this, innate preferences are there, they are not zero, but they are low. Okay, the variables Tn and T0, which determine this innate preferences, they are positive, but they are low. That really means if you change the quality or if you change the access fees a little bit, then the users will switch. Okay, everything is equal, they'll go by this, or roughly equal, they'll go by this, but change it a little bit, they're switching. Okay, so the innate preferences are not strong. In this case, so for mathematically speaking, what we assume they are less than a certain threshold, which we specify in this pattern. In this case, we show that there is an SPNE and it is unique. Okay, that means we said earlier it will be one of the four that allows for.
So it's the case where the innate preferences are not strong.
Innate preferences are not strong. Yeah, those coefficients Tn and T0 are small. Yeah, and it's the first one, that is the neutral ISP is driven out of the market. CP, content provider, offers with premium quality on non-neutral ISP, and it does not offer on neutral, and no one subscribes to it. This is the only possible, this is the only equilibrium, and it's unique in this case. Okay, we can show if Tn and T0 are below certain thresholds. Okay. Yeah, and the other extreme is this, where the innate preferences are very strong. Okay, I mean, in effect, it means they're locked in. Not quite. We are not saying Tn and T0 are infinity. Okay, so if you really go above a certain point, they will still switch, but they really have strong preferences for this. In that case, we can still show that that means they are, again, mathematically speaking, we show if they are above a certain threshold. Then the unique SPNE exists, and it's of type 3. That means both ISPs are active, content provider sends with premium quality or non-neutral, and with free quality on neutral. Okay, so, and thirdly, there is a benchmark case where you are forced to be neutral. That means the internet service, both internet service providers, they offer only the free quality. They do not offer, the non-neutral does not offer the high quality, the premium quality. Okay, this is a benchmark case because we want to compare. This is really the case where your entire world is neutral. Okay, by looking at this, we will be able to assess the benefits of non-neutrality. So in this benchmark scenario, we show that there is only one. Again, there is a unique SPNE. The content provider, where the content provider will offer with free quality on both ISPs, and the end users will choose amongst them. I mean, no one is given out of the market. Okay, so this is really, this will allow us to, this is a neutral world, and it will allow us to assess the benefits of neutrality. Alright, so let me just get into, and in each case we have, as I said, we have the closed form expression for different decisions. Let me get into the numerical results. So now what we show, well, I mean, through the numerical. So in the numerical results, I'll focus on the things that we could not analytically conclude. Okay. So in the numerical results, we could show, I mean, or at least not show means not provably, but we are able to, in all our calculations, it's turning out that the Nash SPNE is unique in the general case. I mean, we could prove that it is unique in special cases, but even in general case, it's one of the 4 forms. It's never 2 or never 3. Okay, so that is something we are observing through numerical analysis. We are not able to prove it, and And we are also able to show in the general case, I mean, this we are able to show. There are several examples where there is no Nash equilibrium. Okay, several parameter regions where there is no SPNE does not exist. Okay, so
do you know this analytically? Or?
yes, we know this analytically. We can show in these cases. I mean, there are several examples where we can show that amongst these four, because these are the only four candidate ones, right? No one of them is an equilibrium. There is always unilaterally beneficial, unilateral beneficial deviation.
So what's the condition?
So, well, there are some, we could get many parameter regions for which it could happen. I mean, we couldn't really get any mathematical closed form condition, that is what you're asking. That if this is no, we could not. If this is less than this, then this no. We could not get some this. But what we could get is several parameter regions or many counter examples where this happens, that is all those four, none of those four are Nash equilibrium because each of them lends to beneficial deviation.
And the correlating question, you have four possibilities.
Yes.
If it exists, do you have conditions when it exists? And two, if one exists, can you determine when is A, B, C, or D?
Yeah, so yes, we have only numerically in terms of if this is large, then this happens, but we do not have mathematical correlations. Yes. Yeah. For example, is this region we could specify? I mean, this picture sort of gives you an idea. In this region, A is this. In this region, B, C. But it's not really a mathematical condition. And in this region, there is no Nash. Okay, so now let's compare. So this is really the broad insight. So let's compare the advantages of neutrality, or I'm sorry, advantages of non-neutrality. First, this is a slightly surprising conclusion. We can show that the CP content provider receives the same payoff in neutral and non-neutral. That means its payoff is not enormous because of non-neutrality. Why? Well, okay, there are reasons to believe that to be the case. That is, there are two factors, right? The CP can get high quality and therefore high income from the advertiser if it chooses to. At the same time, it will have to pay the side payment. Okay, so the side payment brings it down, and of course the high quality brings it down. So it's not a priori clear what will happen. Now, what the analysis is saying that it does not change. CP's thing does not change, and also it's also an artifact of this sequential game. That is, which one we consider makes the decision. Okay, the CP is making CP is a follower in this case. So that is also an artifact. That is, if, for example, CP were the first to choose, okay, that equality without knowing it, then the things may change. Am I making sense here? So we have a certain sequence in the game, right? Where we are saying that the service provider chooses the internet access fees, then the service provider chooses the side payments, then with that knowledge, CP chooses the qualities, and then the end users choose. That is really the order we follow in the sequential game. If you consider a different sequence, that is, if you consider the CP first chooses, right, it may be different.
That will be.
It will be
That's why I was going to ask you, because that is very important, right?
Yes, it will be different. Yes. Yeah, it will be
So
different.
then what's the rationale for that particular CP?
So now, CP, yeah, so the thing is, the CP, yeah, so what we felt is that the CP would make a more informed choice. That is the, okay, it's this, that is, okay, so this is really a one-shot one. So I'm just giving you an intuitive sense, I'm not giving you a mathematically specific answer. So we are looking at a one-shot game, and so we generally felt that the service providers are going to change their access fees at a much slower time scale, right? That is, it does not happen like, every day my access fee or every hour my access fee is changing. Okay, so I mean, as an end user, that would be very inconvenient for me if I have to do that. So it's at a much slower time scale. The CP instead, of course, here we are considering everything to be the same time scale, but generally it has speaking. The CP instead respond, it can do much, it can do it at a faster level. The quality, the choice of the quality, it can choose it for this session I'm going to do this or after. I mean, this is really the busy time, I'm going to go down to the quality done, or I'm going to work right now. Many are looking at the advertisement, so this is the time I'll choose and I'll pay. You know, it can do all these things. So we said that the CP wants to make an informed decision, so the CP will do it later. Okay, so that's the rationale of the choice. But it's important to keep in mind in this case, it is really same time scale, because it's really a one-shot game. Okay, so, yeah, but it is not. So, but another thing is this: it's not completely off because there are two elements in this decision. One is the side payment, and the other is the quality. Okay, so the side payment is reducing. So, and this. So, I mean, the answers could have been different ways, but yeah. And so, the neutral ISP receives a lower payoff in a non-neutral regime. Okay, so compared to that is sort of anticipated. That is, if the neutral really operates in a higher world, look at its payoff, and compare that if it operates in the world where there is this other guy it has the flexibility to operate non-neutral. It gets lower payoff. That's understood. However, so this is important. Non-neutral ISP receives a higher payoff in the non-neutral world for most parameters, not for all. This is important. Okay, not for all. So let's deal. I mean, that it will receive higher payoff. That is not very surprising. We expect, right? But that it will receive a lower payoff in some cases, that is surprising. So let's look at the cases where it gets lower. So then, by switching to non-neutrality, the ISP loses payoff in the following cases. End users not sensitive to the quality of the content. Okay, so it is actually allowing this high quality, but the end users don't care that much. The coefficient there is very small. And the content provider is also not sensitive to the quality the users receive. That means the advertisers don't really care that much. And not enough differentiation, that is even this, the two are the high quality and low quality, there's not much differentiation. Okay, so in these, if all of these happen, then there are instances where this benefit will come down. Okay, because again, because it's charging the side payment, etc. So it has to, it's charging the side payment. Okay, and so now the content provider will not be happy with the high side payment in this case. It's charging a low side payment. So it will have to make up its money through this end users. And then the end users are getting a high internet access fee, so they go to the neutral. So in these cases, it might in Nash Equilibria turn out that. But most of the cases, it makes no money. Okay?
But
Yes.
in these cases,
Yeah.
we have to go through this game structure to come to the conclusion, which is to be expected. Isn't that a simpler way to conclude that this will be the consequence?
No, you cannot mathematically conclude, right? That is, you have to look at the Nash Equilibria. I mean, you can anticipate in this case it might be, but even otherwise, let's see if we don't get into this detail. That is, broadly, what are we saying? Now the non-neutral has more options. And then we would think if it has the more options, it would make more money.
Yeah, I'm saying for this range of parameter values,
Yes.
does the Nash Equilibrium game solution simplify something to get these conclusions? Rather, you come to this from a very general analysis.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see your point. I see your point. Now I don't know whether we can, if we just focus on this without starting from the general, whether we can arrive at it very quickly. Okay, so this is something I don't know, but I'll explain.
So the parameter of the payment from the end user directly to the content provider, it seems to me to be considerably more important in the following sense that you could, in a non-neutral environment, have middlemen. That is, I pay to the New York Times to have access to their content, and then I sell this content, and I become a content provider then. Okay, so, I mean, the picture can get complicated.
I see what you're saying. Yes, that means, but then, yeah, of course, New York Times may not like that much. Like that, etc. Yeah, but yes, yeah, there are all of these possibilities. Then what if you try to, the site, you operate a mirror site, and then these things. I don't know whether they are fully legal or not. What New York Times is doing.
In reality, I think there are more than one content provider.
Yes.
And then, any predictions?
Not yet. I don't want to make a new statement because then the game changes. You have different content providers, right? So this scenario applies when you have a very powerful content provider which captures a lot of the market, which others are very small. But if you have competition between if you have two content providers where they have some hold on the market.
Also, the content providers can be aggregators.
Yes.
All the content you get from Google is not their own. It's because they allow you to go to others
Right.
with them, right?
Yeah.
So there's another
You're right. There is another level. Yeah.
layer of
I agree. So actually,
negotiations and all.
I completely agree. So this is why I think this problem space is beautiful, right? Because it gives you so many layers. You don't stop with one. Yes.
One question, considering the convergence of the four states game, and you said that it's a one-shot game, so have you ever studied the convergence time of this game? And
No,
how
it's
feasible it will be?
oh no, but it's a one-shot game. There are Nash equilibria, right? So we have closed form expressions for the Nash equilibria. So the convergence question doesn't arise unless I misunderstand your question.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So you said, did you finish?
So there's no almost like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to start the question before you finish.
So there was
The model actually includes preferences for the users, but does it also include preferences by the service providers, because they might be having cache that would actually prefer?
No, it does, right? So basically, the end user's preference for the service providers, if this is what you're asking.
But is there a parameter that includes the service provider's preference for content provider?
No, it doesn't, because we have just one content provider. But if we have competition between content, then that question will arise. Yes.
Because caching is one important thing that.
Correct. I agree. If you have a cache, maybe it's easier to yes. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. But in this case, there is just one content provider, so it doesn't. Well, it could in a slight because the thing is, if one of them has cache even for that content provider, then it may not. The site can required. There are different. No. Yes. So it could, but I think its question broadly, very strongly applies when you have multiple content providers.
Yeah, just starting from John's question,
Yes.
as we have the comment aggregator, I'm going back to the previous question. You have different layers, also the provider case, right?
Okay.
So you're charging as an infrastructure provider, you're charging your ISP, who's leasing, let's say, infrastructure from you, right? So again, he could be neutral, could be not. So you have another layer underneath the content provider. Would that change somehow?
So the infrastructure.
Yes,
right?
should this be considered as well?
Right. Okay. So broadly, so when I'm translating your question to our context, context. So then this is what it becomes. It offers the high quality QNOT, right? And then the question is this: whether it has to pay something because of the infrastructure, right? Actually, there are two levels to this. One is if you're charging part quality, it's there because there is a benefit factor. Okay, so it can be incorporated there. Okay, but there is another one. If it is a constant, I think that is actually more interesting. That is, in order to be able to provide that high quality, in order to have that option, I may already have needed to invest in the infrastructure. That means because I am in the non-neutral one, I have a constant penalty. Does it make sense? Not related to the quality. That means I have the option. So in my utility function there is a constant penalty. Okay, so that may actually allow me to decide whether I should operate in a non-neutral one. Now, in our framework, we can give an answer because that is not in the decision process. You have already decided before. Now, look at the advantages you are getting. Subtract that constant amount from the advantages and decide whether you want to have that option. Okay, so I'll just go through these two slides. I'm almost done. So, and last one is the end users. Non-neutral, where do the end users gain the most? Non-neutral regime yields a higher welfare for end users than a neutral one. Again, you would anticipate it would, but the question is when it might not yield this. Okay, so
what is meant by welfare?
Sorry. Oh, welfare. Yeah. Welfare is this this quantity that this we have this utility function, right, of the end users.
Oh.
Now we aggregate it over the system, the total. Yeah. So again, so a non-neutral regime. Okay, non-neutral regime yields a higher welfare if these things happen. That the market power of the non-neutral ISP is small. That means it doesn't have a very strong hold of the end users. That means, well, if it does, then end users will not gain that much because end users love that non-neutral so much. Even if the non-neutral gives it a very poor
That's
high.
a fuzzy statement, right? It's not quantitative. How do you measure the market power?
Oh, no, it's not a fuzzy, I'm sorry, it's not, it's actually concrete. Maybe I did not explain that part. This is not correct, this is concrete. By the market power, what I mean, we have a measure, but roughly what it means is those fractions Tn and T0, which determine the inertia. That means the market power is high if the end users have a very strong inertia for that content provider.
Right, but is there a quantitative?
Yes, there is a quantitative one. It's, I think, T0 by Tn plus T.
This was the fraction.
Yes.
It's an equation.
Tn, yes, correct. There was something I did not go into that. Yeah. But yes, we have a quantitative one. Yeah. So it means if it is this, if the market power of the non-neutral ISP is small, then it will get, because if it's very high, then a non-neutral will exploit it to charge their users for it. So they don't get benefit by being in this non-neutral scenario. And it will also depends on the sensitivities of the end users to the quality and the communication. Yeah, under these circumstances, end users get a high welfare, but if these are violated, higher welfare rather, if these are violated, it is not. So then the point is this: does the market need to be regulated? The answer is yes. Okay, or I would say the answer depends. Why? Because in one instance we have seen the neutral ISPs can be forced out of the market. Now, of course, we didn't do this long-term analysis, but you see, the thing is, if it is forced out of the market, that may not be a good idea because, for different reasons, FCC might want at least some of them to be neutral. Okay, that is for at least through them, the content provider. All the end users will have good access, or the content providers can send their content. So they do not want them to leave the market completely. And of course, if we look at the long-term thing, even if we don't consider FCC, then of course, then there will be an issue that then the non-neutral will be very happy. Now my competitor has left, so I'm going to hike up the charges and all that. But even afterwards, even if it doesn't, FCC may still want because, for example, it might have uniform access for all the different contents or some kind of uniform access. So there should be some neutral ones there. So this is where some regulation is necessary, or the regulator can actually provide incentives for the neutral to be just to be present in the market. And if the non-neutral ISP, there are some instances where the non-neutral ISP lose profit. We show that these instances are of course much smaller, but again we did not consider, for example, competition amongst content, etc. If all of these changes this, in that case non-neutrality is unlikely to emerge. That's really. So all we are saying here, we already in this case, there are some instances where non-neutrality is not an issue. That is really the high. So I'll end my talk here.
This is speaker first.